off the bat, we want to tell you that if you hadn't already hit that like button, let's do that now. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So every time you hear me talk about it tonight, you'll be like, I already done that. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel. You hit that like button. As we see each and every week, nothing helps us more than that. And, of course, the comment and the live chat. And then, of course, we always at the beginning of the program want to always remind you that if you're not already if you don't already know about our website, it's very easy. It's LarryRagland.com, LarryRagland.tv. And when you go there, you'll have an opportunity to give to our ministry, and we appreciate it so much because this is a ministry. This is not just a YouTube show. This is a ministry because we believe that God has called us to do what we're doing. And if you would like to help us, we don't put any pressure on you to do that, but it's very simple. You can send a check to Larry Ragland Ministries, P.O. Box 9489, Birmingham, Alabama 35220. And if you want to give online, then all you got to do is right there where it says Ministry Partners, just click on that, and then you can become a monthly partner, one-time gift. You can get a copy of our book, so many other things.
Help us keep things going out there.
Help us keep things going. So
I will not bring the tinfoil hat back out tonight, but
not tonight.
Stand by. You never know.
Never know. Never know. And, that was an epic moment. I just be honest with you. I had so many comments on that one that I had to read.
Did we get some good still shots?
We got some good still shots. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back.
It was video gold, wasn't it?
It was video gold. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to go back and watch. Was that last week or week before last?
Oh, my goodness.
It just runs together.
I think it was longer than that.
It was the week of October 4th because it was
pre-October 4th.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was right before we had the alert. All right, so let's get into this tonight. Let's cover our first news item tonight. And, of course, you cannot – I think everybody knows what we're going to be covering tonight. It is the nation of Israel.
Absolutely.
The whole world is talking about what's happening in Israel. United Nations Secretary General says the Middle East is on the verge of the abyss. Now, I want you to think of the words here. This is the same guy that said we're boiling.
Right.
We're no longer heating.
Before
we're now boiling.
Before we get into this, we have a barrage of language concerning the war.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm hearing, the second Pearl Harbor. We've heard reference to 9/11.
9/11, yep.
You know how I feel about the words that are attached to the Palestinians.
Yes.
I don't like that. But there's a lot of things going on with language.
Yeah, there is, and when the whole mess of the media are saying the same thing, then you know that not only is there very interesting language being used, but they're all using it. So it's obviously somebody got the memo.
The repeating of the same words and phrases over and over and monikers and all this.
Yeah.
This is a practice that's used in mind control.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. But you are hearing a lot of the same verbiage, the same words, the same phrases over and over again. And it's just like that tirade or that thing where they put out where all the broadcasters are saying the same thing. They got the memo. Everybody's in lockstep.
Absolutely.
A lot of that.
Okay. So all right, let's get into this. It says the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Did I do good?
That was good.
I'm right off the bat. I'm nailing it.
Give him a thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen.
I turned that off, by the way. This don't work. I turned it off.
You turned it?
I turned it off because it was acting up, doing some crazy stuff. So I can turn it back on at any time.
Okay.
In this dramatic moment, as we're on the verge of the abyss in the Middle East, it is my duty as Secretary General of the United Nations to make two strong humanitarian appeals. To Hamas, the hostages must be immediately released without condition. To Israel, rapid and unimpeded access for humanitarian aid must be granted for humanitarian supplies and workers for the sake of the civilians in Gaza. Yeah. Gaza has been running out of electricity, water, and food since Israel blocked entry into the Gaza Strip last week. Guterres explained that the UN has stocks of food, water, medical supplies, and more across the Levant. These goods can be dispatched within hours. To ensure delivery, our selfless staff on the ground, along with the NGO partners, need to be able to bring these supplies into and throughout Gaza safely and without impediment to deliver of those needs. So basically what he's saying is, how can you not say you got to let the hostages go? Okay, that was a no-brainer. This was the immediate already. This attack happened on October 7th.
Exactly.
So at the time of this recording, it's October 16th. So literally in less than 10 days, they have already beginning to turn the narrative against Israel, that Israel is the aggressor, that Israel is the terrorist organization, and that they are the ones that are blah, blah, blah.
But this didn't just happen today. This has already been in the works.
Yeah.
So it didn't take the 9 days that we're talking about. I don't know what day it started, but it's already begun. And so, okay, yeah. So the demand on Israel, rapid unimpeded access for humanitarian aid must be granted. Okay. All right. Yes, we do need to grant some aid, medicine, and so forth. But that's a broad statement.
It's a broad statement.
Okay, they're getting ready to, launch this ground assault.
Yeah. And look, this is war. This is not a video
war.
game, and this is not a skirmish.
No.
This is they've declared war.
Yes.
The Knesset has the Israeli government for the first time in I don't know how long. Certainly Netanyahu in any of his terms has never had a war council, and even his opponents combined with him to create a war council. They declared war. This is not an insurrection. This is not a conflict. This is called
Actual
a war.
And later in another article, down the line, there are many articles tonight. I did read that there was a safe passage granted to the Palestinians. It's not like there's no route for them, no safe way. There's an agreed upon passage for them. So, everything hasn't been completely shut down.
No, and before we go, we probably got about 10 different articles that we're going to really break down the latest on what's going on in Israel and Gaza. But let's be clear. We know that in every war there are innocent people.
Sure.
There are innocents of.
And that's the real tragedy.
That's the real tragedy. So we know that. But I will say this, and I say this walking lightly here, that there is an all-out hatred in the region of Gaza, whether you're a part of Hamas or not, for the Israeli people. And so whether it was by force or whether it was by everybody's in on the same vision, I don't want to be a terrorist, but I believe in what you're doing, they voted in Hamas. So Israel pulled out, I believe it was 2005. They completely pulled out. President Bush made them do that in order for a thing. Gave them complete sovereignty and reign there. So the people of Palestine elected Hamas to lead them. They elected them. So most all of the rocket launchers are located in neighborhoods, on the roofs of hospitals, and on the roofs of schools.
Yep.
They allowed that to happen. Now, that does not mean that they should be killed. That life is not precious, because every life is. But let's be real. So when Israel says, "We're giving you time, get out because this is war. We're not going to shoot a couple of things in there. We're going to decimate Hamas."
And let's stress,
so that we do not have this problem anymore.
The movement of well over 1 million people.
Yeah, exactly.
My mind cannot even fathom. Where are they going to go, and how are they going to get there?
And let's just throw this one up, and then we'll continue to just give our commentary. But the latest death toll that we've seen in Gaza and Israel combined, the number of those killed in the fighting since militants from Hamas launched attacks on Israel on October 7th continued to rise on Monday as the Israeli military carried out airstrikes in Gaza in preparation for an expected ground invasion of the Palestinian enclave. The health ministry in Gaza said on Monday that 2,808 people have been killed and more than 9,700 wounded. In Israel, the death toll from the attacks have reached at least 1,400 Jewish citizens. 289 Israeli soldiers have been killed, and Israeli officials have said.
And let's add to that, there are still at least 150 hostages.
Hostages, yes.
So
of which this is how the narrative begins to be turned. The United Nations has now made a condemnation against Israel because some of the bombings that they've already done in Gaza killed some of the hostages. So they're blaming Israel for the death of the hostages. Well, if the hostages were at home in Israel, that wouldn't have been an issue. Okay.
Come on.
So I want to. Do you remember? I'm gonna see if I've got this here on the amount of Americans that are dead right now. Do you know that?
30.
30. So
That was
we're
the last number that I saw was
okay.
30.
So we're talking about 30 Americans. 30 Americans. Now we're Americans. If you're watching this around the world, we're from the South. You hadn't figured that out. Listen to us talk, but we're from Alabama.
That
Glory to
probably
God.
didn't take you long to figure that one out.
But there was a time. Now I am by no means wanting American boots on the ground in this. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there was a time that if one American was killed, there would be an unbelievable reaction from the United States government.
Sure.
It has been so muted. It's just like, Americans were killed. This world is in a mess because I believe, Sandy, that this is all a part. Now, I don't want to go down the rabbit trail of all these conspiracy theories that are out here about how this was how be able to be pulled off and who was really behind it and all that mess. Okay,
a lot of different opinions.
A lot of different opinions. But on this show, we just want to talk about what we know. And here's what we know. We know that thousands of people have been killed. We know that this war has been going on since the Old Testament. And it ain't never going to end until the peacemaker puts his feet on the ground.
Exactly.
And comes back here, Jesus Christ.
Is this the most contested piece of land in the entire world?
Oh, my goodness, yes, in the history of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Jacob and Esau still fighting. Yeah. That's what this is. And so, there's all kinds of things about, who's occupying, who's not. Now we got Biden. I'm gonna try to go to this article. I'm going to skip over to
and
this
let's add to this while you're going to the next article. There are still 13 Americans unaccounted for. Their whereabouts are not known. They're trying to figure this out. And how many people are in the country on tours?
Yeah.
They're not hostages, but they can't.
They can't get out.
I don't know how many, because in all the articles that I looked over, I did not see a number of those, although I'm seeing local articles about one person here, two people there that are still trying to get back to Alabama. So...
Yeah, so here's the article. As you said, the latest number is 30 Americans. At this time, we can confirm the deaths of 30 U.S. citizens. We extend our deepest condolences to the victims and the families. It goes on to say that also said that there were 13 United States citizens whose whereabouts were unknown, and U.S. officials have been in touch with their families. The numbers are updated from these provided when the State Department confirmed 29 Americans and 15 missing. And then it goes on to say an estimated 150 people were taken from Israel as hostages. And let's just be very clear that Hamas has been releasing videos of the children and the babies that they took hostage. Did you see the video of them patting the baby on the back, trying to birth the baby?
No, I did not see that.
They were talking about how they've been showing these babies compassion, swinging them in a swing next to a machine gun right behind them, trying to make it look like we're showing them kindness. Well, how about this? Thank you for that super chat, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. Trying to curry some favor with the rest of the world.
How about you left the kids with the mom and daddy? I don't really care the fact that you're rocking them in a rocking chair. Okay, yeah, I'm a little stirred up because I'm tired. This is what happens. And I know people are going to go, is he going to go there again? Is he going to go there again? Let me tell you something. Agenda 2030 is involved here.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Okay, let's spin this. I want to hear this.
Okay. It's involved because the greatest weapon of control is fear. And nothing
I agree with that.
What does terror mean? What does terrorism mean? Doing things to scare you to death. What happened? October 13th, they called for Friday the 13th to be a day of global jihad.
Yes.
All this kind. That was the first of many of those kind of calls. What happened? People here, even in Alabama, we don't even have a major city. We've got Birmingham and all this, but you're not like New York, Los Angeles. But even in Birmingham, people are like, I'm not getting out of the house on Friday the 13th. I'm terrified. I had people commenting on things going, please pray for me. I'm terrified. I need to go buy groceries.
Yeah.
Well, when you've got that kind of stuff going on, and you've got to control people by 2030, I'm telling you, I'm not saying that Klaus Schwab started a war in the Middle East, but I guarantee this, he's very happy about what's going on because this is going to bring a more control.
I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be shocking if he didn't have his hands involved in it somehow. But yeah, either way, he's got to be pretty happy with what's going on right now.
Now, I'm not saying that he's jumping up and down and he's happy over death.
No.
But I'm saying he sees
The
this is
chaos
another.
in general,
Yeah.
all the moving parts in general. You're absolutely right. And we talk a lot about how fear is a great motivating factor when you want to move people in a certain direction, when you want to control them.
Yeah, Nancy said, "How about the babies that were beheaded?"
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, we don't even want to say that.
No.
But how could we not, Sandy? How can we say that we're going to be a voice to help people stay
not talk
awake in
about
this
these
moment
things?
and not talk about these things? We hate it, but
Yes.
it's real.
All the people that were slaughtered in their homes, bodies that were dismantled, entire bodies.
Oh, we heard people testifying, soldiers testifying that they were handing them body bags, and they were like, "Is this more children?" And they would say, "No, that's not a child. That's one of the parents of the children." And there's like, it's the size of it's a baby body bag, and they opened it up and realized that it was a full grown human, taken apart,
Unspeakable.
arms, legs, head, all in a bag.
The thing that really gets me too is that atrocities that were performed not by soldiers,
Right.
but by citizens.
By citizens.
That were allowed to come in and encouraged to do whatever you want to do, steal, take whatever you want to take, and just do whatever you want to do.
You understand what she's saying? When the wall was breached, this is multiple people have confessed this, and even Hamas terrorists that were caught and interrogated admitted this, that when the walls were breached, they went back in with megaphones and told the citizens of Hamas, grab your hatchets, grab your machetes, grab whatever you can grab, come in and go into these kibbutz, go into these communities and do whatever you want to do. And they say that at least over half of the Israelis that were killed by citizens, killed by Palestinian citizens, not Hamas soldiers.
And these were...
God, I feel sick. I mean, I just...
I know. It's not that they were even strangers. They knew.
They knew.
And had somewhat relationship with some, if not most, of the people that they killed and took from. So there is a very vile type of anger and hatred that's been inbred into someone when you can just commit acts like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what is Netanyahu saying to his soldiers? This Netanyahu is telling his forces in Israel with him that the fateful hour to attack.
Language again. Language. People. My goodness.
Yeah. Because it's serious time, takes serious language. The fateful hour to attack the Gaza Strip by land, sea, and air draws near. The UN warns of a specter of death. There we go again with language. I mean, we've never heard this kind of language being used in media. A specter of death as enclave hospitals run out of medicine and crisis threatens to engulf whole Middle East. Israel's imminent invasion of Gaza could turn into an occupation lasting 18 months in order to dismantle the bloodthirsty monsters of Hamas. Yeah. That's in quotations. Rainy weather delayed the full-scale onslaught yesterday, but Israel's prime minister vowed to demolish the terror group. So we're let's go back up here.
They're talking about taking up to 18 months to go house to house and make sure that they've removed all the dangerous elements, of all these people.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he's vowed to level the place.
Yeah. So okay, let's go back to our country, America. The whole world wants to know how America's going to respond. Well, to Biden's credit, when he came out and he finally spoke, although he was reading the script, it was very obvious that he was reading the script, and I hate to say it, but barely got through the script with no emotion, but at least he read the script. Mm-hmm. And so the talking points was, we're with you, Israel. We've sent the aircraft carriers, all of this. Well, here we are in less than 10 days. Biden is now saying, do not occupy Gaza. It would be a big mistake.
More language, big mistake.
President Biden said in an interview aired Sunday night that Israel should not occupy Gaza following a devastating terror attack, claiming the move would be a big mistake. Biden was speaking to CBS 60 Minutes in an interview that was filmed Thursday when he was asked about the expected military action of the Gaza Strip by Israeli defense forces. I think it'd be a big mistake, Biden said when he asked of this question. Look what happened in Gaza, in my view, is Hamas and the extreme elements of Hamas don't represent all the Palestinian people. And I think that it would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza again. And he goes on to talk about our team is working talking to them about that. Biden said a potential pathway to get citizens out of harm's way, whether there is an outlet to get these women and children out of that area at the moment, but it's hard. And, you know, the same old talking points. But the reality is this is what this means. This means I hear what you're saying, Netanyahu, but let me just tell you something. We're not going to let you do that. You're not going to be able to destroy Hamas. You're going to do surgical hits. You're going to get out of there quick, and then you're going to let them rebuild, and we're going to help them rebuild, and Gaza's going to come back. But Netanyahu, at least right now, is saying, no,
and truth be told,
that is not going to happen.
Yeah, you know, it's not just Biden saying that.
Yeah.
How many other governments have said or hinted that way?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want Israelis there.
No.
They want an open path, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From the ocean, from the Mediterranean.
Absolutely. Well, look, there again, we're not beating up the Palestinian people, but here's the reality. Israel was there. And I hate to use the word occupied because, you know, I don't occupy land in Jefferson County, Alabama. I actually own a deed to it, and I'm supposed to be there. So if Israel's your country and a portion of your country and you claim that it's your country, and there's a whole big debate on whether, you know, bottom line is this. You go back to the Bible, we know what God gave Abraham, and that's the land there, and it's actually a lot bigger than what it is now. Okay, but they said it was occupied. Well, in order for them to have the peace, they were pulled out. The people, not a single, listen to this, Sandy, not a single Israeli citizen remained in Gaza. Not one.
And did they demolish their homes as soon as they left?
Every settlement was leveled, razed to the ground. Yeah. Every Israeli citizen left. And in 2005 said, it's yours. Manage it, govern it, grow it. You've got what I've heard Amir Safadi say, the most beautiful stretch of beach in all of Israel was given to Gaza. You have the opportunity to make a paradise where people can come in tourism, build your own cities, have your own police system, have your own school system. Here is your section. And what did they do? They openly, almost immediately begin to dig tunnels underneath the ground to go into Israel, to attack them, to fortify schools, hospitals, and neighborhoods with missile launchers and using humans as human shields.
That's it right there. I was going to say they're using these citizens as human shields. And like you said, this beautiful piece of property, and they've had to cram so many people into such a small area. I can't imagine what, outside of the military faction and storing weapons underground and using hospitals to protect their military position.
Exactly.
Outside of that, what must it be like to cram that many people in such a small area?
But this whole mess that you always hear about a two-state solution, they do not want a two-state solution because
I don't think so.
Because they don't want this war to end. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, big picture, most of you know this because you're a very educated audience, but do you realize that they emphatically declare that Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine? So that's a non-negotiable. You can't have a two-state solution to where Israel is a nation, but Jerusalem gets to be the capital of Palestine. I'm sorry, that's not. Jerusalem was from King David, okay? Right. So that's not going to happen. So there's just so much going on. Well, in the midst of all of that, Sandy, they gave him the warning. They said, look, you need to get out of northern Gaza. Go to southern Gaza, which borders Egypt, and said, because we're letting you know, empty out. If you stay, we don't want you to die. That's why we're dropping these leaflets. That's why we're sending in messages. Get out. But you know what's happening? Multiple people have confirmed this, Sandy. There are reports that Hamas is actually killing their own Palestinian civilians trying to flee.
It's crazy.
They won't let Americans leave either. Reports are emerging that Hamas terrorist group is preventing civilians from evacuating northern Gaza, killing innocent Palestinians who try to leave, and preventing American citizens from using the Rafah border crossing to escape to Egypt. The IDF spokesman, Jonathan, how you say that? Conricus? Conricus has been warning for days that Hamas is preventing civilians from leaving Gaza ahead of anticipated ground war. He cited both Israeli and international sources in an interview with CNN. Let's play a little bit of this video here and hear what he is telling CNN.
Preventing civilians from leaving. Can you explain what it is that you have seen, what your intelligence is telling you, what's being described on the ground, which suggests to you that they are forcing people to stay in northern Gaza? What's the evidence there?
Yeah, it's actually very, very clear and compelling. We have voice recordings of Gazan civilians that say on the record, yes, Hamas officials are stopping us on the streets and taking away the car keys. Hamas has erected checkpoints, and
car
they have
keys
blocked
and IDs.
The main escape route. The main evacuation route has been stopped in various locations by Hamas. We have showed pictures of it. We have disseminated it. I spoke about it on Twitter Live yesterday morning, and it's very, very clear what they're doing. And there's also non-IDF sources of information, international media and other organizations that are saying, despite the fact that they are, intimidated by Hamas in Gaza, they're saying that Hamas is stopping people from evacuating.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Jonathan, I'm not telling you any.
They're stopping people from evacuating. That would be like Alabama's under attack, and there's the interstate that can get you to Nashville, and the attack's coming from the south. That would be like the Alabama State Patrol or the Alabama National Guard blockading I-65 and making the citizens of Alabama stay in the state that's being attacked from the south. Your own citizens.
Yep.
That is what is happening here. And there is
they want to enrage this and inflame this situation. And I don't think we touched on that 70 Gazans were killed Friday trying to flee. And of course, they blame the Israelis for that they killed them. But in actuality, it's probably Hamas that killed these people.
Yes.
Trying to flee and get away and get out.
I apologize. I had an article. I don't know. I must have accidentally deleted it, but I had it, and it is out there for you to find. There are satellite imagery. There is drone footage of the actual trucks blocking that road, and there's just lines upon lines of Palestinian cars in this traffic jam. Reminds me a lot of Maui. When I saw that, I thought this looks like Maui. When the cars were trying to get out of an impending fire. These people are trying to get out of an impending explosions and bombs, and they're blocked by their own people, and they're just, you can see in the drone footage that they can't get through. And it's just like there's nothing on that road as far as
Are you trying to say that Hamas is trying to use these people for leverage? Absolutely,
that's what I'm saying. They because they don't want them to leave, because if they let them leave and Israel knows the only ones that's left is the terrorists, they're just going to level the place. But Israel is going to level a lot of it anyway, but they're at least compassionate enough to say, okay, we're watching this, we're trying to get these people out so that they don't have to die because of what you did.
So earlier I saw a comment from JD saying he thought that all the hostages were dead, that they had been killed already.
I've heard that, but nobody knows that. But
I mean, would you really want to do that so soon? Because wouldn't you want to try to use them as leverage as well?
I would say the only reason that they even have leverage left is for videos. Yeah, I would say that they would want to keep some of them alive for videos, but I do believe that some of them have been killed. But in my opinion, this is all just opinion. But I'm like you. I would say that you would want. That's why you take them. You don't take them to kill them. You take them for leverage. Yeah. You would have killed them there.
But at some point, you won't mind parading a couple of them out and letting the world see, violence or death come upon them. But there's a lot of unknowns. We're not going to figure this out sitting here. We're going to try to report to you what's supposedly known.
Yeah. Now, this is an older article, but I want to point this out that we haven't confirmed this yet, but we think that this may be changed a little bit. But Egypt's Sisi refuses to take in Palestinians. They say they must remain in their land. Now, you understand, the only border that Gaza has with another nation besides Israel is Egypt.
Yes.
So if you're going to leave Israel, you have to go to Egypt from Gaza.
And this is from 3 days ago. So
This is from 3 days ago. But I want to read this because I want to point something out to you. Egyptian strongman Abdul Fattah al-Sisi reported speaking at a military graduation on Thursday, urged residents of Gaza to, quote, remain on their land rather than attempt to relocate from the violence of the jihadist terror group Hamas and any potential retaliation of the Israeli government. Now, there are reports that they have agreed to let humanitarian aid come in through Egypt into South Gaza, and also maybe even to take some of the refugees there. But here's what I want to point out is that Israel is surrounded by people that are all obviously pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel. Everyone, I don't care what kind of relations they have with Israel, there's not one nation surrounding them, no matter what agreements they've signed, would not actually be happy if Israel didn't exist. Okay, we all know that. So Egypt is supposedly not at war with Israel, an ally, or whatever you want to call it, best you could be that. But all we hear is about the Palestinian people, two-state solution, and so forth. But yet, not a single country, Jordan and Syria at top, Egypt at the bottom, want the Palestinians in their country.
exactly.
They don't want them.
So, okay, this
Why?
guy, al-Sisi, are the majority of over 1 million people attempting to come into his country? Are they attempting to all go north? I mean, where are they going?
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is, what he was saying is, you need to stay in your land. And I get what he was trying to say. He was like, you need to fight for your land. Fight for your land. But what he's also saying is, die for your land. Because you've been told if you don't get out.
Right. Yeah, Mr. Al-Sisi, I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah, exactly.
they've given us 24 hours to move, get out of here.
It's basically, it's like the Palestinians be saying to Sisi, that's easy for you to say.
Yes.
You're in Egypt. We're in Gaza, and we've been told. Okay. So it goes on and on and on. So look, just this week, we had several high-level people from our country and from the United Nations were in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv.
Yes.
And so while they're in Tel Aviv, watch this, Hamas rockets hit Jerusalem.
Exactly.
Not the kibbutz right on the other side of they hit Jerusalem and they hit Tel Aviv.
Were they aiming for the Knesset?
Yes, they were.
So they were trying to disrupt, and well, not just disrupt the meetings, but kill the people inside the Knesset.
In the Knesset, during the opening Knesset session. Thank you for that super sticker, Tiffany.
Thanks,
I appreciate it.
Nice.
A major barrage of rockets launched by Hamas militants targeted Tel Aviv and Jerusalem on Monday, halting a session of Israeli's parliament, the Knesset, as well. The attack sent legislators to shelters and underscored anxiety among Israelis and the militants' reach. Other cities were also hit, including Holon, where one person was moderately hurt by a rocket impact. The Times of Israel website quoted that David Adman, ambulance service, is saying he is treating a 54-year-old. But also, I don't know if it's in this article, but I read that Secretary Blinken and several high-level military officials from our country had to be ushered into a bomb shelter because they felt the rattle of the bombs coming in while they are there in Israel. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Now, Mr. Blinken, is he also Jewish?
I think it's what he said.
I think he
said
is
that. He
Jewish.
said that. Yes, that
now,
is
he
Jewish.
gave a very impassioned and heartfelt speech.
He did
a couple of days ago, and he seemed very genuine, and that really impressed me. But I think they said at the time that he was also Jewish, which I was like,
well, he
wow.
said that. He even in the meeting, he said it. He said, I am a Jew. And so, like I said, I got to give the administration props. They came out, they said the right things, they've offered military assistance, but they're already turning. They're already turning. They're already saying, Israel, we want to be your friend, but at the same time, we're being pressured by all these countries around the world.
Well, just like the story, the president said, hey, if you think you're going to occupy Gaza again, big mistake.
Big mistake.
Okay, what?
Yeah.
What are you saying? What next?
Yeah.
What threat? What kind of weight are you trying to bring behind this?
Yeah. What exactly does that mean, Mr. Biden?
This next story, I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah, and we ain't even had time to talk about this one because
No, we
where
have
I'm going
not.
to take this one, you're going to like where I'm going to take this
I
one.
had a ladies' lunch today, which, by the way, if you were there with us, thank you for coming. Had a great time. Loved being with my sisters, and might have got a little excited, but I asked around, and some friends said it wasn't too much.
Y'all don't even understand. This woman is on another level, a whole nother level.
I don't know about that. But
And by the way, speaking of a whole nother level, we get new partners every week that's partner with us. We
this
want to
is
say
awesome.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, partners.
Love you so much.
Those that are partnered through our website, those that partner by clicking that join button right down below us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, also, we cover stuff on here. We're just a bunch of podunks, country folk from Alabama, but we covering the news, and we're talking about things that you're not hearing in a lot of places. And we're covering it
Trying to, anyway.
Trying to. And, we don't know how long we got here on this platform, on YouTube, but we're also on Rumble. They're watching us on Rumble. So thank you to our Rumble family. If you don't follow us over there, go to rumble.com/Larry Ragland.
That crowd is growing over there,
It
too.
is growing.
Love them.
Every week it's growing. Our views
great.
are going up over there. And a lot of folks have just left YouTube and just said, I'm done, and they've went over to Rumble. And so I understand that.
Those early adopters.
Yes. Okay, so let's get back into this because we can't forget that we're talking all tonight about Gaza. But then you have Hezbollah up in the north. You have Lebanon, you have Syria, and you have ISIS. ISIS is pretty much gone. But you have Hezbollah. What people don't realize is Hezbollah is one of the most well-trained armies in the world.
True.
And they have, I don't have this number in front of me. Maybe I'll read it in a minute, but it's like, things like 200,000 missiles. I mean, it's over 100,000 missiles.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. And of course, they are sponsored by Iran, and they have been firing missiles into Israel from the north, trying to draw Israel in it. Well, one of the things that some people are concerned about is that Netanyahu is putting so many forces to invade Gaza that maybe they're not protecting the north like they should because Iran is really is running Hezbollah.
So, okay, this is what I've read and heard as well. So they are funding, they're training all Hezbollah and Hamas. Is that what you've read and heard?
They're funding Hamas, but they have trained Hezbollah. I mean, many of the Hezbollah soldiers are Iranian military that are there. And they are top of the line trained, and they have much more sophisticated weapons than Hamas.
Exactly, which plays right into this next article, which is crazy.
Yeah, so Iran is the funder of it all. So let's look at what the threat that came from Iran this week. And this is interesting wording once again.
Very interesting wording. I hope you all are paying attention.
Yeah.
And if you have further information, please let us know.
Yeah. So in all my life, I'm 55 years old at the time of this recording. I've watched a lot of news.
You've heard a lot of threats, haven't you?
I've heard a lot of threats.
We're going to threaten you with this.
But
or
I
that.
have never heard somebody threaten with an earthquake. Iran threatens Israel with a, quote, huge earthquake if retaliation against Hamas continues. Iran's chief diplomat has issued a chilling threat to Israel, warning the nation it will be hit with a, quote, huge earthquake if the Jewish state continues to retaliate against Hamas for the brutal terrorist attacks. On Saturday, Foreign Minister John.
I think I got this one.
Okay.
Amir Abdullahian. I think that's it. Amir Abdullahian.
See, if I hear it, I can say, watch this. Amir
Abdullahian.
Abdullahian. Abdallah. miserably. Yes.
It's going to be huge.
He called on Israel to stop its attacks on Gaza. Ahmadinejad warned that the war might expand to the other parts of the Middle East if Hezbollah joins the battle. Should Israel ignore the warning, the nation will suffer a huge earthquake. Okay, Sandy, before I say anything else, I just want to ask you, what do you think, what's going through your mind when somebody threatens? Is it a figure of speech?
I know.
We're going to shake your...
Is he talking about an earthquake of pain?
Yeah, or is it an earthquake of political upheaval?
Okay.
Are we going to shake the foundations of your government?
Nowhere in that article did it say, or did anyone speculate that he was using that as a figure of speech. Did they?
I didn't see it if he did.
I think they're literally talking about using an earthquake like they have it, like they can. And quite frankly, maybe they do.
Okay, let's come back to that because I do want to go there. But this is what I was thinking about a while ago. It is estimated that the Lebanese Shia Islamist terrorist group, Hezbollah, has at least 150,000 rockets and missiles, including precision-guided missiles that can hit anywhere in Israel, the entire nation. It has thousands of battle-hardened fighters who have already participated in Syria's 12-year conflict and has different types of military drones. By the way, we've covered here on the big picture, Iran is the #1 producer of military drones in the world. Yes. Hezbollah fighters have been on full alert along Lebanon's borders with Israel following Saturday's attack on Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. Okay. All right. So we wanted to establish that the big military enemy is not in yet.
Yeah.
But most experts believe they will enter because it's like, everybody's saying this Netanyahu is seizing the moment to say, let's finish this. Well, Hezbollah, Iran, Hamas, all these enemies of Israel are also saying this is probably our last shot to finish Israel. There's no way they're going to just walk away and not do anything. So we're going to come back to the earthquake thing in a minute. But what I want to tell you is they are absolutely, listen to me. Once again, it's like I said last week, I hope I'm wrong. I hope you go back and watch this video and say, ha, you were wrong.
Yes.
I hope it.
I'd like that.
But I'm telling you, my gut says in a matter of days, certainly weeks, no more than weeks, you're going to see Israel attack from the north, from Hezbollah. You're going to see major retaliation from Israel in both directions.
Right.
Then you're going to see Iran come into the picture. Then you're going to see Russia come into the picture. You're going to see China come into the picture. And you're going to see the United States be forced into the picture. That's why we keep telling you World War III is not coming.
Yeah.
World War III is already here. We're just in the beginning stages of it. Now, back to the earthquake question.
Well, before we go to the earthquake, let's talk Iron Dome for just a second.
Yeah.
So we know that it is pretty effective, except for if you're talking about a barrage of hundreds or thousands of missiles at once or over a short period of time. It would have trouble keeping up with that kind of a barrage, but it certainly is at least pretty reliable. So it'd be terrible to think you would have attacks coming from so many different directions at one time. But Israel can certainly hold their own under, mostly, normal circumstances.
I wonder what those aircraft carriers from America are actually doing there. I mean, are they just thinking that they're just going to scare them out in the water, or are they really made some kind of commitment to join Israel, which I would be shocked if this administration actually joined Israel to fight Arab enemies. But we won't spend too much time here. But Sandy, you and I have covered with Stan. By the way, Stan Dale will be this Thursday night for the Kingdom Intelligence Report.
We need to hear from him.
We need to hear from Stan. And we're going to ask Stan about, let's throw this up here, every Thursday night at 7 o'clock is our Kingdom Intelligence Report. And this coming Thursday is Stan Dale. And you're going to have to help me remember this. We're going to ask him about earthquake. We're going to ask him an earthquake question. We're going to throw this title up here because we know that he knows about what's happening in Antarctica.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yep, that's where I'm going. So there are people that have been there in Antarctica that have said that they
Yep.
know for a fact that there has been weapons used there or lasers that are used there that this guy says he was told triggered the earthquake in Christchurch.
You're talking
New Zealand.
about that redacted interview with Eric Hecker,
Yes.
who was a contract worker in Antarctica.
Yeah.
And I think he said this is one of the ways that some of the big corporations like your Norfolk Grummans and all of those contractors can kind of slide in there and so forth. It's a whole big thing. But anyway, he said, look, he had gained knowledge through access because he said these people are very arrogant and prideful, and they will drop statements.
Yeah.
And like they don't even care what they're saying because they look at people like me who were firemen and plumbers and so forth as just very lowly people. And they would tell you almost anything. You could engage in conversation with them, ask questions, and they would just tell you almost everything they knew. But he said the extreme low frequency weapon that was down there, and I'm pretty sure he's talking about ancient technology and weaponry that was found, that was figured out how to turn it on and how to use it, and that it caused the Christchurch, New Zealand earthquake in 2008 or somewhere around that. It's a great interview if you can find it. You need to watch that interview.
Multiple people have come forth and said that. Not just him. A couple other people have said that too, that when they saw this technology activated, almost immediately the earthquake was triggered, and the way because it goes deep into the ground, and they said that they're confident that they've never admitted publicly, but they triggered that earthquake. So when I saw this, of course you could mean a political earthquake, a military earthquake.
Or you could be just going ahead and putting it out there for the world that, hey, we have the ability, we have the technology, and we can do this, and we will do it, except for the fact that, hey, this is God's chosen land. I would hate for that thing to be turned back around on you.
Exactly, because watch this. You know, we covered Maui extensively, and we haven't forgot you, Maui. A lot of speculation about how these fires were. Many of the things talking about lasers and stuff like that.
Who was it talking about? Were they talking about Hurricane Katrina happened at the time they were evacuating from the Jews out of Gaza?
Yes, absolutely.
I heard somebody talk and touch on that.
In fact, every time that anybody has
because that was a Bush deal, right? That was during the Bush administration.
In fact, every single time something negative that Israel had to give up land or the land was parted, major catastrophes have happened in America and around the world. But I want to show you something. If you
Cheryl Fisher.
And by the way, I see people hitting that like button. Keep hitting that like button if you had. By the way, don't hit it more than once.
Yeah, don't do that.
This ain't Facebook. If you hit it once, you're good. If you hit it again, you unlike it. All right, so.
Oh, firefighter for Raytheon. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, DRW.
Yep.
It's greater.
All right, so let me show you something right here that's going to blow your mind. I threw this one in to the last minute. I didn't even tell you about this one. But this is a guy that I follow. He's a conservative guy. He drops a little language. So I think I got it right past the language. But this is something he shared today. Benny Johnson, a conservative guy, and I want to show you something. Now there are reports that this is a doctored video, but then other people are saying that it is not doctored, because it is constantly talked about and is widely known that we know the Iron Dome that you talked about. Well, it is, many people have written about the fact that the Jews have weapons called the Iron Beam.
Oh!
And the Iron Beam is it's talked about that they are going to begin to roll it out. They believe, according to this video, I can't confirm whether it's real or not, but a lot of people are saying it's real. Some people are saying it's doctored. But I do want to show you this, that this is reportedly video of the Iron Beam being used where the Iron Dome was not capable of handling that many missiles. Watch this.
Jewish space lasers real. Are we witnessing them?
Let me take this little. I got this filter on here. Let me turn this filter off.
You sure do.
And that's so that I don't get flagged. Sometimes I'm okay doing that. All right, so let me take this off. I want you to watch this. Watch this right here.
In use. So here's the thing. We haven't actually seen them in use before. All right. We haven't seen the iron beam, as it's been described, so-called, in action. But there were many reports heading into this week that we would be seeing soon the iron beam, quote unquote, being used, and that we would witness the first official laser weaponry being used in times of war. Now, here are videos that have been ping-pong balling all over the internet of allegedly the iron beam in use. Wow. Okay. You can see there, it's sort of a flash across the sky. See right at the beginning? Zap! Boom! You can see the rockets.
You know,
being popped off. Here's another one. This one's making the rounds too.
This is really amazing to me.
See the rockets launch, and then you can see them sort of like pop, 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 in the air with sort of a laser reflection.
That's pretty
so
accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And very effective.
So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the videos that are being shared widely around the internet. Are they the first use of laser weaponry?
This is very interesting to me.
Like I said, I don't know if it's real or not, but this guy, Benny, usually...
We need to find out if this is actually, because this is one of those, are you sure that you needed to show your hand at this moment?
Yeah.
Weaponry like this, you wait and reveal it at the right moment because you don't want to show your hand too soon on something like that.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, some people saying it's doctored, some people saying that it's real.
We must know.
But here's the thing. Come on.
This.
Don't we think that this is, whether that's real or not, even if it's not real, isn't that also a rollout to prepare us for what is really real? Because there's no way in this world that I don't believe we have that technology. And look, do you know something else about Israel? And this show's not going to all be about Israel tonight, but we have to cover major things because you're not going to hear a lot of this from the mainstream media when it comes to Israel. But do you know that Israel is one of the smallest countries in the world? Okay, it is the size of New Jersey, around the size of New Jersey, and
or the state of Rhode Island.
Well, we keep saying that, but I haven't confirmed that. I know it's the size of New Jersey. I think it's bigger than Rhode Island. I think we said that last week, but I confirmed it is the size of New Jersey. But here's the thing: more Nobel prizes for engineering and Nobel prizes, period, have been won by Israel than any other nation in the world. In this little tiny country that was almost exterminated by the Nazis. But yet, there are some of the most ingenious minds this world has ever seen.
The medical field, too.
The medical field, every field. So you're going to let me tell you, what I'm trying to say is if there is such a thing as laser weapons that can knock missiles out of the sky, I got to know that Israel's got them.
You would think.
So whether this is real video or not, I believe this is at the very least a preview rollout, like we talk about in this show a lot, just going ahead and getting you prepared for when the real thing is common knowledge. I mean, we got a Space Force now. I mean, think about when we was a kids, we used to pew, 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 shooting lasers at each other, pretending, pew, pew, pew. I mean, thank God.
That was pretty good, by the way.
Thank you, pew, 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 pew.
Like 1980s.
1980s.
1980s good.
Pew, pew. But you know what? Here, sidebar.
What?
I hope that the technology is better than stormtroopers' aim. Because the stormtroopers, bless their heart,
are the worst.
Have never hit a single human.
The universe.
I mean, they got you surrounded. They're shooting, and they'll hit nothing. So I believe the military is a little bit better than stormtroopers in Star Wars. But that being said, wasn't that a fascinating video? That was really incredible.
I hadn't seen it. I was completely fascinated.
Okay. So hey, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Let's get back to here. And this is the last couple of things we're going to say about Israel. But FBI in America, this is very serious, warns of rise of terror attacks against Americans, possible copycat attacks on U.S. soil. It says the head of the FBI is ominously warning that there's a rising number of terror threats against the U.S., and the biggest concerns involves potential lone wolves pulling off Hamas copycat attacks here. Agency Chief Christopher Wray urged law enforcement to be extra cautious about ripple effects from the raging Israeli-Palestinian conflict during an address at the International Association of Chiefs of Police. History has been a witness to anti-Semitic and other forms of violent extremism for far too long. We remain committed to continuing confronting those threats. In this heightened environment, there's no question we're seeing an increase in reported threats. We've got to be on the lookout, especially for the lone actors who may take inspiration from recent events to commit violence of their own, we just had a Friday the 13th call for a global day of jihad. Now, what is not really said and admitted there is Hamas has been confirmed to be in this country. Yep. There are people that have been caught, arrested, that are Hamas.
He does say that in a separate article.
He does admit that Hamas is here.
Yeah. That was hard for me to read because we banter about different things like, we know there's sleeper cells and people are coming into the country. But to hear him say
the
that,
FBI director,
that was a next level for me. I didn't like that.
Yeah, because he's for the first time admitting, they didn't fly here. No, they didn't fly here, y'all. No, they walked here. They walked in here. And any guess where they walked from? Anybody? Anybody want to guess where they came in? I think we all know where they came in. Okay? And they're still coming in.
Yes.
And they're being given free everything. And they're setting up, many of them are just really legitimately working. Many of them are trying to have a better life. But within them, there are some that are getting all these benefits while plotting and planning to do something in this country. Yeah. Listen, that's what these groups do. There's just no other way around it, Dan.
Yeah, you don't want to think about that, but it's probably exactly true.
It is true. Right. It absolutely is true. And those sleeper cells are real, and they are waiting. And hopefully, our good police and our good first responders and those that are still good in these agencies will track them. Those that really do legitimately care about protecting the citizens of our country will stop them before something horrible happens. Not to mention, y'all, we can pray. We can plead the blood of Jesus. We can be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, okay?
Yes.
But one of the things that is coming out, and I think this might be our last article on Israel before we get into some other news items. And by the way, thank you for everybody and all of our new people tonight.
Yes.
Got to see a bunch of new people. Welcome to the Big Picture family. And just come on back every chance you can. We would appreciate that. But hackers, Sandy, are making a big impact in the Israeli-Hamas conflict. Low-level cyber attacks are becoming a major feature of the war between Israel and Hamas, and the attacks could ramp up the intensity. Now, this is going to go into Uncle Jimmy, y'all, and this is going to eventually work into Uncle Jimmy tonight when we get into our supernatural AI update, because we talk a lot about the wars and AI. Think about it ain't been that long we've been talking about, start talking about wars and AI. Watch this. Hackers sympathetic to Hamas are working to make the Israel-Gaza conflict the next front of cyber warfare. Hacking groups with links to countries including Iran and Russia have launched a series of cyber attacks on online campaigns against Israel over the past week, some that may have even occurred in the run-up to the October 7th strike by Hamas. On Telegram, which is an app, it's basically an uncensored app, hacking teams claimed, they basically openly bragged, that they had compromised Israeli websites, the Israeli electric grid, the Rocket Alert app. Remember that when they all got the Rocket Alert that Hezbollah was bombing them? But it wasn't real. Everybody's app went off and said, get your bomb shelter. In fact, Amir Sarfati was doing a live video and he had to leave and go get in his bomb shelter because he was getting an alert. But it wasn't real. It was hacked. It said they hacked a Rocket Alert app, and watch this. And they hacked, Sandy, the Iron Dome missile defense system. At least one Israeli paper.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
The Jerusalem Post acknowledged hackers took down its site as well, temporarily. So the main newspaper, main online news to the people, the Jerusalem Post, the Iron Dome, which is their defense against the missiles, the alert that tells people missiles are coming, the electric system, and the governmental websites were all hacked leading up to 7th and on the 7th. It's unclear how far and deep the cyber attacks went, but the online campaigns show an effort to bolster the physical onslaught with a digital offensive, potentially looking to replicate the way Russia and sympathetic hacktivists buffeted Ukraine with cyber strikes in the first days of the war. He goes on to say the allegiances of the groups perpetrating the attacks could also offer clues to whether Hamas perpetuated its deadly attack alone. While there aren't direct ties between these groups and foreign governments, some do conduct hacks that benefit countries that give them sanctuary, including Iran, which has been a long supporter of Hamas.
Oh, yes. They're very technologically forward in that country. If Mike from around the world is correct, what they probably have underground, their technological knowledge, probably would be quite upsetting if we knew how far and wide it was.
And the narrative that is spun about Iran is that they're a third world country, they are poor, they're backwards, uneducated, just very, living in the ancient times and all this. But let me just tell you something. These guys have, not only do they have a lot of money, they have a lot of technology. They have underground facilities. As we've said, they are the large. Thank you for that super chat, TLG. Yes. Appreciate you, buddy. They are the number one manufacturers of military drones in the world. In fact, most of the drones that are being used in the Ukrainian war by Russia are made in Iran. So everybody came out immediately and just automatically thought Iran is behind this, what's happening in Hamas. Well, they've trained Hezbollah. Iran is sitting back just licking their chops. They are thinking this is their moment to take out Israel. And then when you got cyber attacks, when you revealed that you have the ability to turn the power off, you have the ability to shut down the number one defense against missile system in the world, the Iron Dome system, that we manufactured, by the way, that we gave to them, sold to them and gave to them. The Iron Dome was invented and created in America and sent there, or at least most of the technology. And now you have all these other things, and people's getting false alarm. Because what is terror? Terror is scary to death to where you just give up and say, we can't take this anymore. You win. And when you're getting alerts and you don't, it's like the boy that cried wolf. Yeah. If every time you get an alert to get in a bomb shelter, then the actual bombs are coming. You'll be like,
you're not going to move. You're not going to do what you need to do to take care of yourself and your family. Exactly. Yep. Yet another danger.
Wow. Well, but America is coming to the rescue. Did you know that this week, multiple senators and representatives presented bills to push the Biden administration to allow up to 1 million Palestinians? How many is there now? 2 million?
2 million in Gaza.
That's half. So half of the Gazans to come into America. Look at this. Growing coalition of Republicans are opposing importing Palestinians to the United States. Egypt says, I don't want them. But America says, we'll take them. A fast-growing coalition of Republican lawmakers, they see this coming, is drawing a hard line over the war in Israel, declaring that they will oppose any attempts by President Joe Biden to resettle Palestinians across the United States. It goes on to say that they introduced what's called the Gaza Act, which would prevent Biden from issuing visas to those with Palestinian Authority passports, as well as blocking the DHS from bringing Palestinians to the United States through parole. Following the bill's introduction, a number of Republicans have said that they too will impose importing Palestinians. Iran should take responsibility for any Palestinian refugees caused by its proxy war with Israel, which makes sense to me. If they want to go anywhere, they should go to Iran. If they don't want to go to Egypt. Ron DeSantis is, of course, running for president. He's come out and said we cannot accept people from Gaza into this country as refugees. And the reason they're saying this is a lot of people forget that when we left Afghanistan, we brought multiple Afghanistan people.
Afghans. So how many does this article report, or do you know how many were resettled here?
From Afghanistan? Mm-hmm. Let's see if it covers this. I think I read it in one of the articles I was reading. But not in this article. I'll look at the next article that I got.
My goodness.
But Yeah, the U.S. Bottom line, it talks about 50% of the population of Gaza are children. That's why they're saying we should welcome the Palestinians. They always use children and women, but then you look at the border in the south, and it's almost all men. The U.S. already gives green cards to more than 1 million legal immigrants annually, a policy that's set to bring the nation's first foreign-born population to an unprecedented 50 million, likely by the end of the year. But yeah, many of the Afghan citizens that came here were also sympathetic to the Taliban, and many of them were members of the Taliban, and now they're in our communities here, and they are taught and from birth to hate America, that we are the great Satan.
Yes.
That we are the great Satan.
I mean, first of all, how can we possibly bring these people here and take care of that many more people and help them get established and then monitor their level of hatred for the people that are trying to take care of them and all the rest of us? This does not seem like a good idea.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, my goodness.
No, it doesn't. It does not sound like a good idea. And this story right here just blew my mind. Berlin, y'all know where Berlin is? I think it's in Germany. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Berlin, Germany. Do we remember the relationship back in the 40s? In the 30s and 40s of Germany and the Jews? Berlin city officials advises their citizens not to make their Jewish faith visible. Jewish citizens in the district of Berlin need to hide their faith in the wake of the Israel-Gaza war, a city official advised during an interview. Speaking with the German news, Integration Commissioner, that guy, reported on efforts to crack down on pro-Palestinian demonstrations following violent anti-Israel citizens attacking the police and celebrating the deaths of Israelis over the weekend. In Germany. Did you forget?
Is this like
that
deja
this is
vu
Germany?
all over again? What must these Jewish citizens be thinking there in this country? And what are the Germans, the non-Jewish Germans? I mean, what are they thinking? Surely there is an uprising among the German citizenry. No, we can't do this. This is a small faction that is actually wanting to persecute them again. Surely it is. We cannot be repeating this all over again.
Exactly. Why are the Jews, first of all, how brave do you have to be a Jew and decide to live in Germany? I mean, what would make you say, it has to be people who had family that was there, that they wanted to be vigilant and say, you know what, you're not going to scare me. My family was in Germany. They were all killed, but we're going to live here. So you got practicing Jews in Germany, of all places. Why are the pro-Palestinian celebrations not told to shut up? But the Jews in Germany have been told, don't tell anyone you're a Jew. Go underground.
Wow.
It is like it's the same demon coming back again in the same region.
Yep.
Do you feel that way? It's like the demon, the principality, was pushed down, and all of a sudden it's rising again.
Exactly. These poor souls, they must be really scared. But look, we had our own pro-Palestinian demonstrations in our own country. Now, I don't know that people are feeling like, in our country, I don't want to reveal that ethnicity. I don't want my neighbor to know because I'm afraid what they will do to me in this country. But according to this article, it's certainly happening in Germany, in that part of Germany.
And if it can happen in Germany, of all places in the world, that there shouldn't be red flags going off, and you don't think it can happen in your neighborhood? You don't. Listen, people, this is a wake-up call. This is why I started this show off, if you've been with us from the beginning, taking this crazy road to say this is all going to be integrated into Agenda 2030. It is all about global government. It's all about global control. Yeah. I was hearing today on one of the shows I was listening to, they were talking about that they're hearing about, I haven't heard this term yet, war and terror lockdowns. I've never heard that.
I've not heard that
I started hearing
concept or language at all.
I've heard.
And we've talked about a lot of things.
Yes. That's how fast things go. Me and her don't even get a chance to talk a lot of things right before we go on the air. But I started hearing this. I'd not heard that, where they're saying there are people that are saying that there will be cities. One of the reasons they tested this system the way they did. And by the way.
Are you talking about the October 4th thing?
October 4th thing. Because remember, now people are getting location traffic things and all that. We're getting screenshots sent to us, and they've said, I've never had this before in my life before October 4th. Now I'm driving down the road. I'm getting an Amber Alert type thing telling me about a truck's overturned and all this kind of stuff. I'm getting people sending me that all the time. So the statement said this, that they can anticipate, and they have heard people hypothesize that this is coming, that if a terror alert happens in a city to where there is rumor that a cell is being activated, they're going to send out lockdown messages telling everyone, stay in their homes, lock your doors, and don't come out. There's an immediate threat downtown in your city that lockdowns, terror lockdowns are coming.
Do you know who's going to stay in the home and who's going to be on the loose? The terrorists are going to be on the loose.
That's
while
right.
People are locked down in their homes, scared to death.
I just want to say this, and they some country boys ain't going to stay locked down.
Well, I was going to say, unless, some of us
Some of them be like,
equipped.
Yeah, y'all just come on. Y'all just come on. I know what my little alert said, but I'll be waiting on you. I'll be waiting on you. All right, so moving on. By the way, everybody, thank you for staying with us.
Yes.
We're well into the second hour now, and we're going to transition over to some other news items. And we do have to quickly touch on what's going on in Ukraine, Sandy. It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We still have a war over there, don't we?
The actual main declared war that's been going on, that we've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars for. And by the way, all kidding aside, tens of thousands, if not over 100,000 have died.
Yes.
I mean, this is real people have actually died here. This is not a video game. Thousands, tens of thousands of people have lost their lives. Ukraine counteroffensive is now declared to be a complete failure, as Ukrainian forces have been decimated. France's finance minister admits West is now getting tired of funding this war.
You think?
You think? Come on. Even though hundreds of billions of dollars, think about what I just said, hundreds of billions of dollars in a massive inflation, possibly depression phase that we're going into financially. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been sent to Ukraine to aid in their defense to repel Russia, although we also covered to also help mom and pop shops stay open, make sure people's 401k is still in place, they still get their retirement. While you lost your job, we're paying retirement funds, and we're paying shop owners to keep their sweater shops open in Ukraine with your money. It has been moot in the highly touted Ukrainian counteroffensive that we heard so much about, the spring offensive, remember? And then it became the summer offensive. Well, now they're saying was supposed to turn the tide of the battle has utterly failed. Western mainstream press, such as the New York Times, was forced to admit as much. Not that long ago, in a recent piece, the paper wrote in October, the front line, after months of grueling combat and heavy casualties, remains largely unchanged because Ukrainian forces have had a difficult time trying to cross wide open fields in the southern region of the country.
Wow.
The whole strategy in Ukraine is for the Russians to let the Ukrainians run across those defenses, kill as many as possible, and destroy as many Western equipment as possible. Russian President Vladimir Putin has already been saying the counteroffensive had failed for months prior. In September, for example, he called the counteroffensive a failure. At least this is how it looks today. Let's see what happens next. I hope this will continue to be the case. They are throwing Ukrainian soldiers on our minefields under our artillery fire, acting as if they are not their own citizens at all. It is astonishing. This was the words of Vladimir Putin. He continued to say, as for the counteroffensive that is allegedly stalling, it has failed completely. Kiev is still preparing new active offensive operations. We see that. We know that. We're reacting to that appropriately. And for what's happening now, along with the whole length of the contact line, it's called active defense, and our Russian forces are improving their positions almost everywhere. And it goes on to say, based on the report, some intel from military analysts, Ukraine has lost over 400,000 men at this point. Almost 500,000. 400,000 men have died. And we just continue to just send money and say, we're winning,
Yep.
and we're not.
So Billy Mitchell says 97,000 Afghanis came here after the pullout.
I knew it was close. I thought it was around 100,000, so thank you for that.
Well, they were very efficient in getting those folks here when we couldn't seem to get our own people back home.
Interesting. Very good comment there, because that's true. Because, by the way, some of them are still there. Let's not forget. Listen, we move on so quickly in news now. Some of them are still there.
Yep.
Some of them, I think, were probably killed, and we just never heard about them because we moved on from that story.
That's entirely possible. Yeah.
So what's happening here? Officials are warning in the United States, and they're a little bit slow because we've already reported this several months ago. This is now being said openly by our military. The United States must prepare for simultaneous wars with Russia and China, a congressional report has just stated. This is what I mean by the people on the know that World War III is not coming, it is already here. Officials warn urgent action is needed to respond to threats from both nations, which seek to upend U.S. leadership and further their authoritarian agendas. The U.S. must prepare for multiple simultaneous wars with Russia and China, according to a bipartisan congressional panel. In the report from the Congressional Commission of the Strategic Posture of the United States, the panel states that the risk of conflict between U.S., China, and Russia, sounds like a world war, don't it? Middle East is not even mentioned there, is increasing. It is an existential, say that for me, existential. That's what I said. Challenge for which the United States is ill prepared unless its leaders make decisions now to adjust the U.S. strategic posture. Today, the United States is on the cusp of having not one, but two nuclear peer adversaries, each with ambitions to change the international status quo by force, if necessary, a situation which the United States did not anticipate and for which it is not prepared, the report states. While the risk of a major nuclear conflict remains low, the risk of military conflict with either or both Russia and China, while not inevitable, has grown, and with it the risk of nuclear use, possibly against the United States homeland.
So much to try to absorb, you know. We talked about this Ukrainian war for how many months? Since February of 2022, and getting so angry about all the money and equipment being sent over there, and then thrown in the mix with that, you know, China and Taiwan, and getting ready for this war that we're being told that we're going to be in with China, and somehow Russia's going to be involved. And then little Kim, he's always looming on the horizon. You can't take your eyes off of him. And right now we're presently completely engulfed in this Israel and Gaza situation.
Yeah. And it's a very real thing. I mean, in fact, it's the hotbed of the whole world right now. It's where everything winds down, according to the Bible. It's where everything winds down anyway. And I thank you, Alicia. She just said, mic drop, the big picture brought it to you first. That's exactly right. We broke the news here. Breaking. We told you all this. And let me tell you something. I don't say that happily, but we are continuously being confirmed on this show that we're giving you information that you can believe in. And if we don't know that we feel confident about, we'll tell you, hey, this we don't know. But some of the stuff, this intel that we had about China was very confident, and it's been confirmed several times. We are in World War III. We are. 2024, put your seatbelt on. 2024 is going to be unlike any year we've ever known in our lifetime. And it is the escalation, because think about it, that goes into less than 6 years before we get to 2030. And 6 is the number of man, 6 is the number of the beast, 666. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we could really go down that line with right now that are going to happen in 24. You got the election, you've got them preparing to invade Taiwan. China is, Putin is getting tired of this. Many people are still saying he's still battling. Maybe might be some kind of cancer.
All of these health problems that he has that we can't confirm.
We thought he was dead 3 times already. I don't know how. I don't know if I don't know if he's been cloned or what. but the rumor is his health is not good, and he's like, I don't want to leave a legacy. I want this thing finished. I want this over before I'm gone. He wants to finish the Ukrainian war. You got China saying, we're tired of talking about Taiwan is ours. We're taking it back. If you mess with us, you're our enemy. Now you got us taking warships right outside of Israel with planes.
USS Eisenhower and
Gerald Ford.
Yep.
The largest in the world. The Gerald Ford is the largest in the world, Sandy. It's the largest aircraft carrier in the world. And it's sitting right outside of Israel, ready to supposedly help.
This thing is just waiting for somebody to really light the match, right?
It is a tinderbox. It really is. Wow. And these are very real things, but they're also distractions from a lot of other things that are going on. And one of the things that's going on in our country and around the world as well is inflation is continuing to rise. The economy is crashing. Watch this. Inflation fails to fall again in September, but Americans' wages do. And so I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of this, but I want to go right down here, and I want to show you this one thing here. This is the chart here that just shows people's wages. Look at August and September, how they just begin to plummet, their actual real take-home. So basically what the article goes on to say is inflation remained at 3.7%. Under this administration, prices have surged 17.7%. While Americans have seen a 3.2% pay cut. So can you imagine? I mean, look, I'm not saying Donald Trump was the savior of the world, but this economy was clicking. I mean, we didn't have all this, but in a matter of just like a switch flipped, and it just crashed.
Things did seem to be a lot better. And let's look, cold weather's coming.
Yeah.
People, you may choose to not cool your home to, the temperature you would love it to be, but you have to heat your homes. We have to have heat. Christmas is coming. Parents are going to want to give their children at least something.
Yes.
This is just more and more expense. Someone said earlier in comments, is anyone noticing, your grocery store shelves? I haven't seen a shortage of anything. We've certainly seen price increases.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. All you have to do is go to the drive-thru of any restaurant, and you're going to see it. You're going to feel it. You're going to see and feel it when you go to the grocery store, when you order anything online. So it's going to be particularly hard this holiday season, and I hate it.
But think about all the money that was made by the pharmacy and medical world in the last 3 years. But yet, look at this story, Sandy. This blew my mind. Rite Aid.
The entire corporation?
Files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The entire corporation. The company's board has appointed a new CEO and chief restructuring officer to manage its turnaround strategy. How do you come out of the wah-wah when the government said, we will pay for it all, make sure you make a profit, give it for free to everybody in the world that wants it, mandate it on millions, if not billions of people globally. And you just come in here, let people come in, you just jab them, and you get paid, you get paid. But yet, here we are 3 years later, and you got one of the largest pharmacies in the world can't survive.
Right. Do we have this store right here in our city?
Yes, we do.
We do. We have multiple pharmacies, and we're small, but every city has to have multiple pharmacies. They're also tucked inside grocery stores as well. But we already had our bank branch close.
Yeah, in our little
This
town.
store is right down the street from our bank that we just lost.
Yep.
So what's going to happen to it ultimately?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, this was the first couple of weeks we had to deal with that. And it was like, you're so used to seeing your branch there. And I was going to go make a deposit, and I realized I have to go to another city now. I have to go to another city, fight through that traffic to go there. Yep. And of course, what they want you to do is just say, well, just stay at home and use your phone.
Just take a picture.
Well, you can't take a picture of cash. So let's just do away with cash. CBDC. Do you understand where all this is going? See, let me go back to that about the bank, because that's a good point. It's like, well, you can take a picture of the check and deposit it. I did that for the first time the other day, and it worked. And I was like, wow, I actually just deposited a check from a picture.
They perfected that technology for you, in advance.
In advance.
Closing your bank down.
But you can't take a picture of coins, and you can't take a picture of cash.
No.
You have to go somewhere to deposit that.
And sometimes you need someone, you need to sit down with someone.
Yes.
And work things out. We've had issues in the past where, someone got into our accounts and we had to go sit down with someone. This was in the heat of COVID where we had to actually make an appointment to go sit down. So, yes, there are situations and times when you need to go inside a bank branch.
Exactly.
Where is this going? How many more are going to close down?
Exactly. Well, we just saw this week that multiple banks across the country and around the world closed. And our little town was listed in Wells Fargo. The drugstore chain Rite Aid filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and announced a change in leadership as the retailer attempts to solve ongoing financial and legal challenges. Has voluntarily entered bankruptcy proceedings in order to accelerate its ongoing business transformation and significantly reduce its debts, as well as to resolve litigation claims in an equitable manner. Do you know what that usually means? Downsizing, eliminating locations.
Sure.
So that means jobs are going to be lost. That means locations are going to be closed. That means more empty buildings. That's going to turn into check cashing places, or it's going to turn in, or it's going to turn into not in our town bingo halls. And if the rest of the country, that's a whole nother thing. Some of y'all don't know anything about that. But for the Alabama folks and those that would elevate, all I want to say is bingo. You need to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
But Sandy, that's just heartbreaking, just to see icon after icon after icon
so
not making it.
We don't have that many prescriptions that need to be filled, but some people do.
Yeah, that's right.
And first of all, the very least, you're going to have to go through the trouble of having everything transferred somewhere else if you need to stay local to pick up your prescriptions. But if everyone starts doing that, what are the wait times looking like for you?
Yep.
It's just a whole big old problem.
It is. It certainly is. So, staying on the economic, but also on the border crisis, this just blows my mind. It's like it just feels like over and over and over again, the American citizen, and it's happening in other countries as well, is just being told to shut up. Yeah. You have to go through the right protocols. You have to have good credit. You have to have a good job. You have to have a Social Security number. You have to have a driver's license. You have to have an ID. You have to have all these kind of things. But look what the Biden administration, in the midst of all this, did this week. Biden tells banks, do not deny loans or credit lines to illegal migrants. The Biden government has informed banks and other financial institutions in the United States that they cannot reject credit claims made by illegal migrants due to their immigration status. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever filled out an application for any credit line or loan where you did not have to include your Social Security number?
Exactly.
Is that not how they check your credit? Do they not run your credit with your Social Security number? How are you going to tell a bank that they cannot deny someone who does not have a Social Security number, but yet sit right next to an American citizen and require it of him?
It's not just that. They want to look at your credit history.
Exactly. Are you on a job where you're getting cut taxes? Can you show me your 1040? Can you show me your tax returns? I need the last 3 years' tax returns. That's what we all have to do.
Exactly. And then be scrutinized on top of that.
You got to have proof of income, proof that you paid your taxes, proof that you're a citizen, proof that you got a Social Security card. And now the Biden administration is telling all the banks across the country, you are forbidden to deny credit. So if an illegal immigrant comes in to get a loan, what does he provide? This is not hateful, but I'm asking.
We're very curious.
Would they just put down a stack of cash and say, this is what I got paid on my last job? Because you're not getting cut taxes. So how do you prove income?
Yeah.
But yet Biden says you can't tell them no. You got to put them up in a hotel. You got to pay for their education. You got to put them in public school systems. Many cities are allowing them to vote without an ID, giving them a driver's license without any proof. And now you're going to tell the banks, as all these are flooding across the southern border, let them come in and just apply for a loan, and you have to give it to them. I don't understand this.
I don't either. Where are we? What is this?
Let's finish this last paragraph, because this right here. Lenders should not deny people the opportunity to take out a loan to buy a home, build their businesses, and otherwise pursue their financial goals because of unlawful bias and without a regard for their actual ability to repay. What? What did I just read? This was from the Assistant Attorney General of the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division.
Actual ability to repay.
What? You can't. I wish I'd have known this.
If the banks weren't already in enough trouble, well, this one should finish them off, right?
I mean, think about when we first got married. We had no credit. We had no money. The only credit I had was horrible credit. I was like, I couldn't even get a gas card. Y'all remember them? They turned me down for a Chevron gas card. I was so bad.
True.
It's true, y'all. But what if I would have said, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold up. You can't hold that against me that I didn't pay my bills. You can't hold that against me that I ain't got no money.
You should have pulled that Elizabeth Warren thing and claimed Native American status.
That's right. I am like a 0.111% Cherokee Indian. I am. Actually more than that. My great grandmother was full blooded, so I do have some Cherokee Indian in me. But the reality is this. I mean, who knew we could have just said, "Hey, hold up. What are you asking about my income?" You can't say, no, it ain't got nothing to do with whether I can pay this.
Asking me questions like that.
What do you mean, can I pay the payment?
I want to see your manager right now.
Give me that loan right now. I want that house. I want that $500,000 house right now. Well, how much can you afford? Well,
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I can barely afford to go through drive-thru at McDonald's. We're laughing to keep from crying. What is going to happen to us?
Exactly.
We ain't covered this in a while, Sandy. Another train. What about all the trains? Is anybody checked on East Palestine?
Has the president been there?
The president still ain't been there. He ain't had time. That's what he said. I'm still going to do it. Still going.
Still going.
This was 2 weeks ago. Remember that?
Oh,
2 weeks ago, he said, I'm still trying to work it in my schedule to go.
Still trying to work it.
2 weeks ago. Watch this. Railroad bridge collapses on the interstate highway. Infrastructure sabotage is what some people believe. Look at that train. Okay? A railroad bridge has collapsed on Interstate 25 in Pueblo, Colorado. Police are tight-lipped. Why? Why are you tight-lipped?
Exactly.
They're tight-lipped, saying that this may be, quote, an infrastructure sabotage done deliberately to derail a train and close the road.
Are you worried about some of those unidentified individuals roaming around in the country, wreaking havoc maybe?
Being activated? Ding, 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 ding.
But you know, our infrastructure is aging in this country,
yes.
and we're not replacing and improving fast enough. So even if it was not anyone sabotaging anything, we have systems failing all the time.
Yeah, we
because
do.
they're past their, expiration dates.
Absolutely. But let's not forget, if these groups can hack the power grid of Israel, which is probably one of the most protected,
you would think,
cyber protected nations in the world, do you not think they already know how to turn our power grid off? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the world we live in right now. This is not a movie. This is not a drill. This is not a test. This is real life.
We've certainly heard that about China for a while now, but let's think about this. How many components of these systems actually came from China? Even if they weren't expert hackers, if they had components from their country that are in our equipment, that wouldn't be too hard.
Won't be too hard.
Good grief.
And then you really go down that rabbit hole and think about the water we've been drinking, the food we've been eating,
yes,
the wham-whams that some people have been taking. What kind of technology is already inside of us?
Ooh.
Because remember, our friend
Going straight out woo-woo on us now.
Yuval Noah Harari.
You got it right.
I got it right. I started to say Noah first, but then I remember you always get on me. Yuval Noah Harari said in 2019,
You're hackable.
you're already hackable.
You are hackable, sir.
Human beings are already hackable. What did he really mean by that? We thought then that he meant you can be programmed to think things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now beginning to believe that there's somehow they can actually do something, that they could hack something.
Goodness.
Well,
We haven't even welcomed Jimmy in yet. You need to slow down.
Jimmy's coming. Jimmy's
Slow
coming.
your roll, sir. Slow
Jimmy's coming.
your roll.
Jimmy, I can hear Jimmy coming down the hallway
He's
right now.
scratching at the closet door.
He's trying to get in. What about me? Don't forget me. Well, look at Sweden. Sweden is now, and we're going to do this rapid fire here, considers facial recognition and drone surveillance amidst rising gang violence. Sweden.
Gang violence.
The Swiss Army knife. And maybe I'm just going back to 80s football player. Okay, don't get mad at me.
Okay.
The Swedish models. Okay, I mean, I'm just saying when in the 80s, I remember them, all I remember is them being blonde. That's all I remember. As they were just blonde. That's all I remember. But I remember, that's what they were known for. Swedish models and Swiss Army knives. Now, it is a haven for gang violence. Sweden.
Is this also because of immigrants and immigration?
Ding, 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 ding.
Hello.
Sweden continues to clamp down hard on controlling gang violence. I just can't get over this. Sweden. This is not Chicago. This is Sweden. That has exploded in the country. The latest being caused to integrate facial recognition surveillance cameras to track and ID potential criminals. Potential criminals. Not criminals, potential criminals. What was that movie we always talk about? But no, predicting the crime?
Yes.
We always forget it.
You guys know the name of it. Tell us.
Why do we? Minority Report. Minority Report. I just remembered it. Sweden is sounding off about how organized crime is getting out of control, calling in the army to aid police forces in reducing the threats. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson squarely blamed, I'd hate to be named Ulf. And if you're watching and your name is Ulf, actually, I think it's pretty cool. You're awesome. Gang violence on mass immigration. Now Sweden officials are looking to fast-track these inquiries to revamp their biometric capabilities with more cameras, drones to identify subjects. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's just everything is about control, right? Everything is about identity.
Yes.
But, one of the things that people loved to do when this first came out, remember when they had that ancestry DNA thing, and then they had the, what was that called? 1, 2, 3?
23andMe.
23andMe. I said 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's it. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Show me your identity.
I got my 1, 2, 3 test in today. But what a lot of, with all this stuff going on, did you know, and if you were a part of 23andMe, you may not have known this. Hackers hacked 23andMe and stole at least 1 million people's DNA.
This is very curious.
Very curious.
What are they planning?
In light of recent world events, a cyber attack at a DNA testing firm, 23andMe, earlier this month, didn't make many headlines. The popular company provides users with comprehensive ancestry breakdown based on their DNA, and according to the leaked data, its customers included Elon Musk and even Mark Zuckerberg, although this has not been verified. The data breach was not a hack of company systems, but a mass targeting of individual users in what is known as a credential stuffing attack. This is where the hackers test username and passwords from previous hacks to see if people are using the details. So they go on to say that they stole the DNA results of over 1 million people. Now, what are they going to do with that? I don't know. But this is one of the hypotheses that was in that article, was that they showed this one particular person that was like 50% Scottish, 17% this and all this. And then they looked at all the other people in their family tree, and they said AI could use that ability to create a persona to contact that person and claim to be an ancestor, to have the right dialect, the right accent, and know things about their history to try to get money from them or whatever. Either way, it's freaky to know that in a dark room in somebody's mama's basement somewhere, there's a hacker that's got access to the DNA, the actual DNA of over 1 million people.
Weird.
It's crazy. Well, Sandy, I hear somebody coming. I hear that train a-coming. It's coming around the bend.
Thank God.
Jimmy!
Each week we say that, and I think I mean it more.
Jimmy!
Each and every week.
It's time for the Supernatural AI Update. While we drink a little drink, both of us, from our wide awake coffee. And we are still waiting on a deal. Y'all need to contact us. We can make you some money, sell you some coffee.
Yeah, at least $5.99. That's probably what you'll make. Anyway, it's time to get into this thing, right?
Jimmy's here. Well, let's just go right there, lead off right off the bat. It is the Supernatural AI Update. We're always heavy on AI. AI now is now causing people to worship devils.
That didn't take long.
Didn't take long. We just went on in there. Oh, Jimmy, I love you, Jimmy, but you need to get your heart right with God, Jimmy. You need to come to the altar. We need to make an altar for Jimmy here. Well, I don't know. Can an alien, if he's real, can he be saved?
I think that's
because I think it's a demon. That's
another
a demon.
subject for
That's
another
demon.
night.
A demon. I bind you. All right, here we go. An updated version of ChatGPT that we all know, the AI that launched the artificial intelligence revolution, will be able to see, hear, and speak now. With 2 new features, parent company OpenAI has announced. First, the AI will now recognize images. For example, if you show it a photo of a bike, the bot can identify the make and the model and return instructions on how to adjust the seat height, the New York Times said, or suggest a recipe if you show it a picture of what's in your refrigerator. What?
Well, this makes perfect sense.
It does.
If you're having trouble coming up with something to cook for dinner, just hold your phone up to the inside of your refrigerator and voila, they'll help you with your dinner plans.
But you know what, Sandy? It actually is a cool idea. And that's how it's going to win people over. I mean...
Oh, yes, they will embrace it with open arms.
It makes sense. It's like, how many times have I just figured out what are we going to eat tonight? And literally what it's saying, y'all, I want to go back and read it again. Take a picture of what's in your refrigerator. And it will say, okay, you got some cilantro there. AI's going, you got some that there, you got some that. If you take about this and this and this, you can put all that together and you can make a meal tonight. And people are going to do it and they're going to be like, what else can you tell me, AI? Tell me what else I can do. And eventually they're going to say, serve the devil.
And you're going to say, okay.
You're going to say, ha!
Is that the plan?
Hey, you need more cilantro? Before you go get the cilantro, you need to take a mark on your right hand. If I can put something on your right hand, you can go get the cilantro. Well, I need cilantro.
Oh, God.
Look, we're laughing. Thank God we're not going. The church ain't going to be here, I don't believe. But the reality is this. I'm trying to tell you, that's the way people are going to buy in. There's no way. Saying the devil is not going to show up with pointed ears and a pitchfork and say, I'm the devil. Listen to me. It's coming through little things like take a picture of the food in your refrigerator, and
Exactly.
I'll tell you what you can use that for.
Why would he switch to that plan now? What he's doing right now is working so well.
Exactly. Let's go on and see what else this new updated ChatGPT can do. Secondly, ChatGPT will now be able to converse, hearing and understanding what you say to it, and responding in a synthetic voice, much like Apple's Siri. I must confess, I've tested ChatGPT on some things.
Okay.
I did not know that this was available on ChatGPT. That's freaky. What's that movie? 2001. It was like HAL.
The HAL 3000.
The HAL 3000. He's like, what's the guy's name? He goes,
Dave,
I love you.
CJ, where are you? We need your help.
Dave.
CJ is well versed on this subject.
It's so creepy to go back and watch that. I watched a little bit of it the other day. It was on something. I just watched a few minutes of, and he's like, I command you to shut down. Shut down now. Shut down. And all his life,
I can't do that, Dave.
He was doing it, but then he got jealous that Dave didn't love him anymore.
Oh.
And I was like, Dave, you know what you mean to me. But I can't do that, Dave. Dave, I'm in charge now. Dave, I love you, but you're about to die. Okay, watch this. So the two improvements will be available to business customers and subscribers to ChatGPT Plus. The additional capabilities will be available to the bot's free version at an unspecified time later. The image recognition feature has been engineered to not be, it's so good to know this, to not be a facial recognition system, the company said. So do you all feel really confident
You feel better now, don't you?
that it only recognizes bicycles and cilantro in your refrigerator? But it's been told, don't recognize faces. Jimmy, what are you doing to us? Jimmy.
He's ultimately trying to help you.
Oh, he's ultimately trying to kill me.
Jimmy is?
Jimmy is of the devil.
He's your uncle.
He is my uncle. Okay, maybe not Jimmy, but those that are like Jimmy.
Well, he's a distant family member.
Well, here's how we're gonna find Jimmy. Is listen, I got some Jimmys. If my family's watching me, I love you, but we all know we actually do have some Jimmys in our family, okay? And probably some of you do too. But here's how we're gonna find Jimmy's gonna help us find himself. See, the search for alien life is now turning to this. Watch this. Is in the search for alien life, this is an interesting article. Should we be looking for artificial intelligence? Look how this narrative is turning, Sandy. Extraterrestrial life could have passed through its own technological singularity long ago, meaning that our universe could be dominated by artificial life forms. This is where they're going with this. Is biological life common in the universe, or should we be looking for artificial robotic intelligence in our search for alien life? An increasing number of scientists suspect that if we ever do make contact with alien life, we will be communicating with a computer.
Okay.
This thinking revolves around an event called the singularity. The term borrowed from mathematics signifies a point where our knowledge of math and physics breaks down and we can no longer accurately characterize what we're trying to describe. A black hole singularity is a good example of
Well,
this.
I would imagine those in the transhumanism camp are loving this, right?
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Well, so Uncle Jimmy's been talking to some people too, Sandy.
Okay.
Look at what Uncle Jimmy was talking to this one dude about.
Okay.
So I just want to cover this one little Uncle Jimmy encounter. There's a farmer who has built a giant pyramid on the orders of an alien from the Orion constellation. Locals have accused Raimondo Corono of building the pyramid to turn it into a tourist attraction, but he has never charged anyone money to enter. Look what he built there. Excuse me. A farmer has built a huge pyramid in the desert in which he claims is on the orders of an alien. Raimondo Corona, said that he first saw an extraterrestrial when his wife was giving birth in the hospital 40 years ago. She encountered complications in labor, and the doctors had to carry out an emergency cesarean section. However, the doctor told him the mother's life was in danger and the baby was born without vital signs. In shock, Raimondo said he fell faint and began to have visions in 1983. In his mind's eye, be careful. Do not, can I say something as a pastor right now? Do not watch anyone or listen to anyone that's trying to tell you to come in line with your mind's eye. And if you are in the comment section right now and you believe in coming in line with your mind's eye, I'm going to tell you something. I love you. I appreciate you being here, but you're under the influence of a demonic spirit.
Wow. I won't charge you anything for that.
That's a freebie. He claims he saw an alien entity in black robes who identified himself as Huraluka.
Of course.
Watch this. From the planet Nephilim in the constellation, they may have a constitution, I don't know, of Orion. He said the alien told him the planet is 20 times the size of Earth. Raimondo claims that he pleaded with him not to take his wife and baby. Hurakalaka told him that he could not decide on matters of life and death, but that the one above could, he claimed. So he's pointing up to old Jimmy. So now, Sandy, is it interesting?
Wow.
That the planet is called what?
Nephilim?
Nephilim. Have we ever heard the term Nephilim?
I think we have.
And what was the Nephilim?
Well, they're the fallen ones.
They're the fallen ones. They were known to be in the Genesis chapter 6 world.
Yep.
And demons are believed to be the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim that were killed during the flood. And this dude sees an alien who just went ahead and just said, I am from the planet Nephilim. Weird.
And he's prompted to build a pyramid.
He built a pyramid.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, were all the other pyramids instructed to be built by the spirit realm?
Very good.
Because if I'm not mistaken, to this day, we don't have the technology even today, they say, to rebuild a pyramid like the ones in Egypt. That we still can't do it, even if we wanted to do it. And did you know, this is a whole, man, I'm going down a rabbit hole right now. Did you know that there has not been one painting ever discovered or hieroglyphic ever discovered inside a pyramid that illustrates anybody cutting stones and building a pyramid?
My goodness.
Ever.
To show how they were constructed.
And you would think they showed everything else.
True.
Ding, 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 ding. Another show.
Very good.
There's so. But now, all right, so we got, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere because we got two more. Got two more to show you. And I say the best one for last. I always say the best one for last because I want to make sure you stay to the end. But this is the next to the last one here. Mysterious alien radio signals may have been caused by, have you ever heard this term?
No.
Starquakes. So we have earthquakes. Now scientists are saying there's something called starquakes. For over a decade, scientists have captured mysterious radio signals traveling through space. Unsure of their origin, some experts think aliens might be emitting these fast radio bursts, FRBs, to contact Earth, while others believe black holes produce them. FRBs were first detected in 2007. They are considered to be one of the biggest astronomical mysteries. We do not know their exact origins, only that they emanate from far outside our galaxy. Now, thanks to, this is, by the way, from earth.com. This is a scientist website. Now, thanks to new research, we may finally have some information about what produces fast radio bursts. Finding from a recent study suggests they are caused by starquakes, or spinning neutron stars, which possess the most powerful magnetic fields in the universe.
Wow.
I just thought that was interesting while we're talking about the Supernatural AI update, that's just crazy.
I think Carl Sagan would have loved that.
Starquakes.
Nice.
Everything is being shaken in the heavens.
Ooh, watch out.
Oh, look out. Hebrews chapter 12 said, not only shall I shake heaven again, but I shall shake earth again. The heavens, there's three heavens, by the way, Bible study. There's the atmospheric heaven,
Yep.
which is our atmosphere. There's the cosmic heaven, and then there's the place heaven. So this is literally science telling us. I didn't even think about this when I put this article in here.
No, you didn't.
I could do another show about this. This is scientists saying the second heaven is shaking.
Let's ask Stan about it tomorrow.
Man, we need to make some notes on what we need to ask Stan.
Notes.
We needed notes. All right, so we got one more. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. But before we get to it, I want to encourage you to go to our website, LarryRagland.com. If you'd like to support our ministry, we would greatly appreciate it. We do not require that. Only thing that we really, really push you to do is hit that like button. Smash that like button, subscribe. But you can go to our website, LarryRagland.com, and if you'd like to send us a check, we'd appreciate that. Larry Ragland Ministries, you see the P.O. Box on the screen. It would be a blessing to us. And you can also click the graphic there. When you click the Give button, go down below the address there. If you click the Ministry Partners button, you can become a monthly supporter of us, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate that. You can also go to our main page, and you'll see all throughout our website we have the opportunity to get our latest book, I See Greatness in You. And by the way, if you're on our launch team and you have not reviewed the book yet and you've bought the book, then and even if you bought the book, you're not on our launch team. If you have read our book, we need you to go to Amazon, search for this, and review it. We need more reviews, okay? Take a picture of you holding the book, review it, post that picture on your review, and review the book. It would help us tremendously on Amazon. We would greatly appreciate it. Okay. We got one more, Sandy.
Yeah.
And this one's pretty interesting. And I think you're going to have some opinions on this one.
Maybe.
All right. So, what the refrigerator, that's what that means, right? I mean, that's what that means. Okay. Is going on with mysterious connections between UFOs and water. More and more people are talking about water. Mike from around the world talks about this kind of stuff all the time, if you follow him. The third episode of Vice's docuseries Encounters, and you see the famous UFO pictures we said, it says, legends of underwater civilizations have existed for centuries, and many have speculated that they are connected to extraterrestrials. The link between aliens and the ocean even have some real-life basis. The Pentagon announced in 2022 that its UFO investigation department will study transmedium objects, unknown entities that can travel seamlessly between space, air, and underwater. This is our government.
We could not have imagined the government talking like this.
Never.
Probably even 5 years ago. This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Theories of underwater aliens have proliferated, especially in the last 50 years. In 1977, the town of Broadhaven on the Atlantic Ocean coast of Wales was the location of a string of strange sightings that is considered the largest in UK history. Roughly 400 people in total, according to government records. It began with a sighting by 16 children in February on a schoolyard of what they called a cigar-shaped object. A few of the kids claimed to have seen faceless beings near the supposed aircraft. Other locals began claiming to have seen unexplainable things around the town, including the creatures without faces. A farming community reported multiple sightings in April and May and even claimed that 120 of its cows mysteriously appeared on a neighbor's field a mile and a half away. But the rumor of the extraterrestrials in Broadhaven truly began when multiple people said they saw a silver disc descend into the sea, with some alleging it entered in via a small island just off the coast called Starquakes. Could it be, people wondered, that these seemingly faceless beings were using the island as a gateway to their secret underwater base? And it goes on to say there's a Netflix series called Encounters, called the Broadhaven Triangle, and it investigates the local legend of the Stack Islands and the rural Welsh community's experience in the late 70s. Well, I don't know if this article goes on to say it or not, but it says oceans are a great place to live, especially if you're going to go from planet to planet. Atmospheres are not very stable with respect to temperature. So you go to Venus and you're looking at 800 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 times the atmospheric pressure on Earth. However, if you're on Mars, you're looking at something like 100 degrees below zero with 1/100 of the atmospheric pressure. So they go underwater. We've said it before, we'll say it again. We do not believe in aliens. We believe that they are demonic in nature. When I say we do not believe in aliens, we know that people are seeing things. We know that there are things that are happening. People are having interactions with people. I think some of them are just in their mind. But there are demonic forces at play here, fallen angels at play here that are very real, ancient, little g gods, principalities, all this kind of stuff. And God's not the author of confusion, but the devil operates in confusion.
Right.
So I'm not going to say that I don't believe that there's some kind of crafts that's going underwater. I mean, there's been people testify that they saw them go at water at 1,000 miles an hour and make no wake, hit the water and make no wake. And there's just all kinds of, then people begin to speculate that the demonic side of it, that it's spiritual and they're crossing dimensions.
There's more and more talk of an underwater base of some sort off the Pacific coast. So you're hearing more and more of that. And people say they see activity off the Pacific coast all the time. And quite frankly, things going into the water. And coming out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that if demons reside in the atmosphere, there's no way that you're not going to make me believe that there's demons do not reside in the water. They reside in the earth. They reside in all the dimensions because they're spiritual. They're not limited by earthly natural things.
Right.
So demonic forces can and they have bases. What I'm saying by bases, it may be invisible, but they have to congregate because they are although they are a much weaker army, they are militarily lined up in Scripture. It even says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we are wrestling against an army that without Jesus Christ will destroy you. But, your only hope is in Jesus.
That's right.
Amen. Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
I'm giving you the last 30 seconds. It's yours.
Well, every week we keep bringing more and more crazy to you. That ought to make you and us want to get closer to Jesus, right? And lean more on our Father in heaven, not just for understanding, but just for peace. I don't know if I even want to understand some of this stuff.
I know I don't. I'm just reporting.
I just want to know that He's got me and I'm going to be okay because it's not getting any better out there.
I just feel like I want to sing a song.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Amazing grace. Y'all sing it with me out there. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. How many news shows you ever watched that finished with Amazing Grace? Because I once was blind. Now I see. And I ain't woke. But we are certainly awake. Good night.
Love you.
God bless you.